Hello, I'm Angel, the head of security for the Grand Library. My husband, Library Owl Az, is still out sick, so I'll be filling in for him for a bit. Thanks for understanding. Now, on to the review. It's February, the month of love. Let's look at something spicy to celebrate. 2 years ago, for Valentine's Day, we covered Hana and the Beastman, discussing themes of enthusiastic consent when it comes to sexual attraction. Last year, we talked about self-love, self-value, and more with the internship. This year, we're having a look at Operation Dinnertime. It is a fan comic from the Zootopia universe. If you walk in furry circles, you've more than likely noticed that Zootopia 2 has earned something to the tune of $2 billion at the box office. So it's kind of a big deal. We don't normally talk about fan comics here at the Grand Library, as that opens up a lot of other comics that may or may not be worthy of a review. Especially when there's so much original stuff out there, but this comic in particular actually holds up to a lot of the scrutiny in terms of art, story, and style. Standing at a mere 50 pages or so, the absolute minimum we require for a review, it stars Jack Savage the rabbit and Cynthia Walker the Arctic fox. Now, if you don't recognize them from the Zootopia films, that's okay. Both of these characters were actually cut from a much earlier version of the first film. But the furry fandom got a hold of them with some scant details, and you know how we act when we see some new characters in media. We pick them up and run with them. So these two are literally non-canon and have never existed, but the internet adopted them, and they're everywhere now if you're looking for Zootopia fan content. Jack Savage is a special agent for the government, a sort of grumpy James Bond character. And Cynthia Walker, also a special agent, is a no-nonsense hoity-toity girl with a tender heart under all that attitude that crushes on Jack. Let's get into the story. Jack spots Cynthia eating junk food at work and pokes fun at her for doing so. Cynthia says food is food and it doesn't matter, which he takes very personally and invites her over to his apartment to cook her a proper meal. She agrees, not completely paying attention, and realizes moments later she's going to be seeing her partner's living space. I love the attention to detail when Cynthia arrives, and the apartment is massive. Zootopia is meant for mammals of all shapes and sizes, so nothing is ever really the correct size for the characters involved. I like that the comic acknowledges this. It also takes the time for her to find and have feelings over little things, like seeing his work uniform on a hanger and not on him, or a picture from a long time ago that he's kept. It personalizes her relationship with him, now that she's in his living space and not at work. Anyway, Jack is ever the charming host, and Cynthia, being the luscious socialite lady that she is, calls for wine after the dinner itself, which of course Jack provides, but does not drink himself. All it takes is a little prodding, though, and he indulges in 2 glasses in rapid succession. Jack, you're a rabbit, and you weigh like 25 pounds? That's probably not okay, yeah. Jack fucking annihilates himself in under 30 seconds, and the alcohol hits him like a train. This leads to what I have come to call a comic story of clothes-on eroticism. That is, it's pretty freaking frisky, but no one is actually coming out of their clothes. Well, not all the way anyway. Turns out Jack is a melancholy drunk, but a talkative one. Cynthia helps him to bed to rest, while he talks and asks her questions that sober Jack Savage would never ask. Remember, everyone, a drunk person's words are a sober person's thoughts, sexy and otherwise. I don't want to give too much away. Like I said, this comic is only about 50 pages long, but the sexual tension and touchy-feely bits are positively electric. Clothes-on eroticism is not something you see very often in furry comics, or comics in general, but I gotta tell you, I have never seen a better example. Author Rem 289, also called 4 O'Clock Start, is a master of the craft and has actually done several stellar Zootopia fan comics of these two, if you Google around for a bit. Sexual tension, wandering thoughts and hands, wine-touched honesty, it's all very romantic. There's nothing better to read this year for Valentine's Day. Check it out.